It's time to take off your clothes, enjoy clothes-free living, and join us for Naked, Nudists, and Naturists.
Welcome to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, the show that celebrates clothes-free living for all. I'm your host, Frank Stone.
And I'm your correspondent, Lisa Monroe, and I'll be reporting on all things within the naturist community. So it's time to get naked and join us.
And enjoy clothes-free living on Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Well, greetings and welcome in to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 154 today. And by golly, we made it. You made it. We made it here at the studio. Everybody has made it to New Year's Eve, the final day of 2025. That's really tough to believe. I know it's the same way every year. But tomorrow begins the brand new year, 2026, and we'll still be coming at you every Saturday morning, 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time on Spotify and so on and so forth. And on most Wednesdays, although it's been every Wednesday. We started this on July 30th, was episode 1 of our Wednesday extravaganzas, and today I believe it's episode 23, so now 23 straight Wednesdays. We're supposed to do most Wednesdays. We've done them all. No guarantees in 2026, other than the original promise. We'll do most Wednesdays. But who knows, we might do them all. Why not? But we're glad that you're with us today. Episode 154, New Year's Eve. Remember to stay very safe tonight. A lot of people think that this is the deadliest night of the year, where the most people lose their lives to drunk driving accidents. Turns out that's not really true. But it is the most deaths related to heart attacks or other sudden illnesses that come out of nowhere. Just the stress of the season. Maybe healthcare is delayed because of the season. So just be really careful tonight. Whatever you're doing, you're staying home, be careful. You're going out, be careful. And it's not always about you. Let's say you go out and party all night long, but you only drink coffee. Well, on your way home, you're not drunk at all, right? But the other person might be. The other driver coming at you or behind you or next to you. So just be safe tonight. Be safe every night and every day. But we do want you coming back for episode 155 on Saturday and 156 next Wednesday and so on and so forth. We'll be here for you in 2026, just as we've been with you all of 2025, and before that, all of 2024, and before that, half of 2023. But we're here today, episode 154 on New Year's Eve, so come on in. The pool is looking like $1,000,000. The hot tub is fired up and ready to go, 104 degrees. The grill is going full bore. Fruits and vegetables off to the right. Cold drinks off to the left, hot drinks inside. Help yourself to whatever you want. If you leave the pool area out the left side door, you will find a hammock. Need a break? Need to get away from it all? Maybe you need a quick nap. Well, that's the place to go. Behind the pool screen area, we have 3 putting greens. You can help yourself there. Putters and golf balls are back there for your use. The back right corner outside the screen, we have some bocce ball court out there. You can help yourself to that as well. Back inside the pool, the left corner of the screened-in area, we have a cigar bar. Help yourself there. And yes, we have extra lotion, extra chairs, extra towels. We have it all. So if you just wandered in with absolutely nothing, you've come to the right place. Just come on in and let's enjoy clothes-free living together for the next hour or so. We'll probably go a little bit over an hour today. That's our best guess anyway. And on today's show, Lisa Monroe is coming in right now. We'll get to her in just a moment. We will be reviewing and reminiscing 2025, the months July through December, ending today. On last week's show, episode 152 on Christmas Eve, we did January through June. So today we'll finish up 2025, reviewing all that we did on this show from July until today. So that's what you have to look forward to. We're really glad that you're with us. We enjoy this time together more than we can even put out there in words. Lisa and I talk about it all the time. We can't wait till Wednesday. We can't wait until we get to Saturday because we get to connect with you once again. Clothes free living for all the right reasons. We are here together to enjoy this beautiful aspect of life, the way we were born, the way we were intended to live. And when we live that way, we suddenly feel better, we feel more alive, we feel happier, we feel less stressed. So we think it's the way to go. Clothes-free living for all the right reasons. Well, again, you are listening to Naked Nudists and Naturists, episode 154 today, New Year's Eve of 2025. And I'm not sure, but I think I hear some music under my voice. Do you hear it? Let me stop talking for a minute, see if we can hear the music. Oh, yes, I hear the music. I'm sure you hear it too. And that can only mean one thing. It's time for the great, the terrific, the completely over-the-top, fully clothes-free and fully smiling, our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. And here she is, the one of a kind, the one and only, the completely clothes-free and fully smiling, our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Good morning, Lisa. How are you today?
Good morning, Frank. I'm doing well. Tired after this holiday season, but I think we're going to make it.
Well, what do you mean after this holiday season? It's New Year's Eve. We're not even close to being done.
Well, this is true. I stand corrected. I was just thinking about the chaos of Christmas, but yes, it is New Year's Eve, so this should be a fun night.
All right. Are you going to do what we always do every year, which is stay up all night and just party wildly?
Of course not. Is that what we do every year? I did not think that was what we did every year.
No, not at all. I think the closest I've ever come to staying up all night is when I was working in bands. You know, New Year's Eve is a big time for musicians and bands. We would literally book gigs that would go from 9 at night until 4 in the morning.
Right.
And in the state where I was at the time, the liquor laws, and no liquor served after 2 a.m. Mm-hmm. But on New Year's Eve, going into New Year's Day, they extended it to 4 a.m. Okay. So the bars were open till 4 and you could drink till 4. We never drank as musicians. You know, we're working. You know, we got to take it seriously. So we'd finish at 4, get all packed, loaded in the vans at 5. Home by 6 a.m., where I was still living at home with my parents. I was still in college. And my mom would have this gigantic breakfast awaiting me at 6 in the morning. I'd eat that and then crash and burn until football started in the afternoon. So not necessarily a lifestyle that I would recommend, but it worked for me at the time.
I'm sure it did. And first off, your mother was wonderful for fixing you breakfast. And secondly, I had a feeling you'd be up in time for the football game, so can't miss those.
Absolutely not. Yeah, so that's the closest I've come to staying up all night, and I guess that was staying up all night, but kind of like clothes-free living for all the right reasons. That was staying up all night for the right reasons. How about that?
Certainly was, and the most that I ever came close to doing that was there was a dinner theater in the town where I lived, and it was a really nice one. It was back when those were big and, you know, things were doing well, and so we were very young, but that was the place we decided to go. And so you got dinner, you got a play, you got champagne at midnight, you got dancing until 2 or 3 or whatever. So that was enough once or twice for me, and I don't want to do that.
There's a major symphony orchestra out there. I won't identify them. I don't know if they want me mentioning their name, but probably wouldn't mind, but just to be safe. They have a New Year's Eve concert. And so you come in for the concert, and then you have dinner, and then you get on the stage with the symphony orchestra, and you can dance on the stage. And they just play dance music, you know, for an hour or two or whatever. And I think it ends about 2 in the morning. But, you know, when you get to dance with the music played by a major symphony orchestra, that's probably worth the price of admission, which as I recall, it's pretty high. It's not cheap to get in. But that's another way to celebrate it, right? Nice and safe.
And now that is a way I would love to celebrate it. I think that would be wonderful because I was always the, you know, kid in college who went to the local jazz club and where all the people who were in their 50s at that time were dancing. So, yeah, I would love that. That would sound like a lot of fun.
Yeah. it's kind of funny when we tell people this, they say, wow, you've really become lame. And I'll say, no, no, I've always been this way.
Yeah, me too. We're boring. What can I tell you?
That's right. You won't be reading about us in the papers the
Nope.
morning after New Year's Eve night. So.
No party animals here.
All right. So we are on episode 154, the final episode of 2025. And that's hard to believe. It's been a wild and woolly year. We've enjoyed every second of it. We introduced these Wednesday extravaganzas back in July. We've done every Wednesday since. We've kept up every single Saturday without missing. Lisa, are you ready for a nap?
I am very definitely ready for a nap. As I told you when we first came on, the holidays were tiring, but
Right.
but it has been an amazing year, and I don't know where the year's gone. It just seems like we just went into 2025, and now we're looking at 2026, and it's just crazy.
Well, on last week's show on Christmas Eve, we revisited all of the shows for 2025, January through June. So, as promised, today we will do July through December 31st, which just happens to be today. So, let's go back now to July 5th, episode 106. This was part 2 with Chris from Indiana Naturist. We talked about him last week because part 1 was in June, part 2 was the beginning of July. We also played another song by a guy who, what's his name again? What's his name?
Dorsiak, maybe?
Yes, that's it. Yes, Rick
yeah.
Dorsiak. Haven't heard that name for 10
No,
seconds or so.
no, apparently.
We also talked about Nude Recreation Week through the American Association for Nude Recreation. Skinny Dip Day was coming up as well. And so a fun time was had by all. Any comments on that particular show with Chris from Indiana Naturist or the other things we discussed?
Well, it's always fun to hear one of Rick's songs, and I will say this: Chris was just as good on this one as he was that we talked about last week. So it was a great 2 segments with Chris, and a lot of extra things that are going on from Anna and Rick is always doing something.
Yeah, I can say this with 100% certainty. If I lived in Indiana or within a reasonable driving distance, I would join. I'm guessing you would too.
Absolutely, there's no question about it. There's an awful lot of wonderful clubs and resorts out there, but the thing is that there's a camaraderie that we felt with Chris, and then later when talking with his wife Stephanie, that there's just a joy there, and I think that they have a good time, but they also keep very grounded in how they do these events and everything. So yeah, I would love to at least go up and join them at least once.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we will at some point.
Yep.
We just don't know when. It's kind of
Yep.
crazy around here. But all right, then we move on. Episodes 107 108. That's July 12 and 19. We had a couple from Florida Nacations on, and they discussed all the good that they're doing promoting naturism throughout the state. They came in with data and research. Almost $8 billion taken in every year within the state of Florida through naturism. $8 billion just through naturism, and there are people still fighting it. It blows me away, but they explained everything that they're doing, and we're going to have them on again at some point to discuss Tampa Free Beaches.
That'd be great.
Yeah, but on 107, we also had a Richard Hahn audio clip. He's a gentleman. He said we could say this after we did this segment a few weeks ago. He's the guy who sent us a photo of himself, naked nudist and naturist hat. He had a sweatshirt, he had a mug, and I don't know what else he had.
A beach towel.
Yeah, a beach towel, and nothing from the waist down. He's the guy. And I said, we won't mention his name, didn't have permission to do so. But then he gave us permission. So that's the Richard Hahn we talked about. And he had missed out on the 100th episode with his audio clip and apologized. You can still send one in. So he did. We played it that day. We talked again about National Skinny Dip Day, which happened to be that day, the 12th. And any comments about any of those before we go to the 19th?
No, I just love that Richard sent a picture in, and I hope that anyone else who's gotten anything from the shop will do so, because it's fun for us. We were very thankful that you've done that and participated with it, and hope you enjoy the product.
That's right. On the 19th, we discussed Women in Naturism Weekend, which was coming up later in July. We talked about Tim Chismar and his movies. We had another email about the hammock. That's when we started having the hammock outside the left door. So, and then we had another clip from Paul, another email or two, and really enjoyed the both of those shows. It's almost, we get redundant, and I'm
Hmm.
guilty of that too. I enjoy every show, so when I
I
say
do
I
too.
really enjoyed that show, I really did. And to hear from Jack, and I think her name was Diane, Jack and Diane.
Yes, I think so.
Okay, from Florida Vacations, great work that they do there. We appreciate them very much. And now we move on to a split session again, kind of like we did with Matt from Pine Tree Associates, episodes 109 and 111. And they were on July 26th and August 2, with something in the middle. We'll talk about that in a minute. But Gary Messel, who's one of those names in naturism, everybody knows that name. He's been around. I don't want to say he's been around forever because that makes him sound like he's old, which he's not. He's still vibrant and cooking out there.
Hmm.
And he's done a lot of work in the field of naturism, promoting it. He's been in leadership with Anna West. I believe he was the president out there. And he started that group out of Southern California. I don't recall. I think it's SCNA, Southern
I believe that's
California.
right.
Yeah,
Naturist
Naturist Association.
Association.
Yeah. And so he was the first president of that for well over 10 years. And he's just Mr. Naturism himself. So we had him on those two shows, 109, 111. We also talked about Women in Naturism Weekend again coming up. Andy Rogers actually sent in an audio clip that day, and we played that. And then on the August 2nd episode 111, we talked about the Anna Summer Convention, which was coming up, and we had a few emails as well. Any comments from you about anything that we did on the show, but particularly Gary Messel?
You know, I came into naturism just kind of enjoying naturism and not knowing about the structures and the organizations that were helping to keep us being able to be naturists. And so hearing from Gary and hearing some of the history of what happened and how he did this was really interesting for me. And I think probably for an awful lot of people, because I will dare say that a lot of our listeners may have not ever even been aware of Anna before they started to listen to us. And so if they've got awareness now of the things that are going on behind the scenes, then that's great.
And we've gotten that note from people. They didn't even know Anna existed or what it was. And now many of those same people have joined. So we're very happy about that.
Absolutely.
But really enjoyed the time with Gary Messel. Very intelligent guy. He thinks everything out through and through, which is what we kind of do around here. He just doesn't go out there willy-nilly and now what the heck, let's try this. He puts time and thought and research and makes data-driven decisions, kind of like how you're supposed to run an organization. So
exactly.
yeah, well, for Gary Messel. Now let's back up to the middle one, July 30th, episode 110. Lisa Monroe, this is our very first Wednesday extravaganza show. How about that, July 30th?
Wow, that was kind of crazy. We were both going, okay, should we do this? We're going to do this. Yeah, we're going to do this. And it was fun. And of course, we thought it was going to be maybe, 20, 30 minutes, and that was it. And then we kept talking and talking and talking. So sorry, people, but we just don't know when to stop talking about naturism. But it was fun. It was fun. And I've enjoyed every one of those shows that we've done so far.
Yeah, they are a lot of fun. We enjoy doing them. The listener reaction has been great. Of course, the listeners asked for it, so we're giving them what they want. When you give people what they want, they tend to be happy, as opposed to, you gave me what I wanted. Now I'm mad. No, you never hear that, do you?
No, you never hear that. When people get what they want, they're happy. But the cool thing about this is that it gave us time to expand a little bit on some of the emails that we get, some of the messages that we get, and some of the issues that are out there, and also to have a little more fun. So it's just been a really great hour or so, quote unquote, but to just talk more and more about naturism.
Yeah, we had some updates and some emails on that show. We played the song Naked. That's the name of the tune, Naked, by Dorian Frankel. She's a TV producer, director, talent, whatever they call those people in that business, talent. I think she goes out and gets the talent and hires people. Okay, you're going to play this role in this show and so on and so forth. And I really enjoyed that. She's not known as a singer, but she did a very good job. And I think she even wrote the tune and put out a whole album, not of naked songs. That's the only one entitled Naked or about naturism. So we enjoyed that as well. And then again, moving forward, August 2nd, 2011 was part 2 with Gary Messel. August 6th, 112, guess what? Frank and Lisa yet again. And we talked about Mark from France. There's another name we don't hear very often at all.
No.
But we'll try to promote him a little more. And Andre came in, Aria Andre. He didn't sing Some Enchanted Evening again, but he sat here and talked to us. And then we played his clip from episode 100,
Mhm.
Some Enchanted Evening. You will see me naked from across the room. And just not a well man, but we enjoyed having him in anyway. Any
No,
thoughts?
Andre's a little strange,
Yeah.
but he's quite entertaining, and it was quite enjoyable and a lot of fun, and nice to take music like that and kind of change the lyrics around and make them, very appropriate for the discussion.
That's right. All right, episodes 113, 115. These were on August 9 and August 16. James Grant, fairly new to naturism, although he's been nude forever, but as far as the getting out there and the social naturism aspect, really enjoyable conversation with him. We could have gone on for hours. I could say that about every guest too, but he and I really clicked, and he had a lot of good things to say. A younger guy,
Hmm.
but also very in tune with himself and the world and the knowledge. And he's just in that point of discovery and just loves being not only nude 25/8 when he can, but he's also into health and taking care of oneself. Any thought on him?
He was fun. The enthusiasm is just infectious, and he truly did seem to love being a naturist. And
Mhm.
the other cool thing is that he is young, so that's what we need. We need more and more and more young people into this community, and so they're out there. We just need to figure out how to get to them.
Yep. And also on those shows, we mentioned again the Anner summer convention that was coming up at that time.
Hmm.
We read some emails from Paul Priestley, Greg White. We talked about Andy Rogers on episode 115. We had another email from a listener. And then backing up to episode 114 on August 13th, we had our third Wednesday extravaganza episode. And we talked about Home Nudist Day as sponsored through, here we go again, a group run by Rick Dorsiak. He's the one who got involved in that and wrote to Anner, and they decided to support him as well. So now it's going to be an annual event. I think August 15th was the date. I don't know if that's going to change or not, but that's what it was then.
Hmm.
Celebrating Home Nudist Day, which we've talked about a lot. You can be naked as a jaybird at home. Nobody ever has to know, and that is totally fine. Any thoughts on that particular show?
It was fun to talk about the project that Rick had come up with and how Anna jumped on it and really started promoting it. And I think it was a wonderful day because I think it also reached a lot of our listeners, and that, not everybody has the opportunity to go to a resort. While there are thousands who do, it is just nice to know that you can be a naturist at home. You don't have
Mm-hmm.
to walk outside your door. So I think that Rick bringing that to the forefront really kind of gave a lot of validity to it. So it was
Yeah,
a good deal.
yeah. Just one more thing that he does out there that he has done that promotes naturism for all.
I just think Rick has been phenomenal. And I think that he's given so much to this, to naturism, and not only on a broader scope like this nude home nudist day, but also what he's done individually for people. If someone emails him, he takes the time to write back. I think he's even got someone from Europe who's coming over to specifically meet him and visit his the resort that he's a part of. So I mean, that's the kind of connections that we need and things that we
Yeah.
really need to nurture within this group, because the broader spectrum is wonderful, but it's that person to person contact that really makes a difference.
Mm-hmm. And on that same show, we read a poem by Nana James. Hope I pronounced his name correctly. All about nudism. Now let's go to the next Frank and Lisa segment. This will be Wednesday, our fourth extravaganza on a Wednesday, episode 116 on August 20. We read from a Tony Valencia blog. A guy named Rick Dorsiak had yet another new song we discussed, and we talked about the home nudism as well. And that's when we started to really catch fire. Well, I guess we started to catch fire right from the beginning on July 30th, but that's when, at least from my standpoint, I realized these are good. They're really good content, and we're just enjoying the heck out of it. How about you?
Absolutely. I think from the very beginning, I think we might have been a little bit um wondering whether or not more content was going to be good, but yet we knew from the very beginning the reason we did this show was for content. So have adding more to it was really great. We also, I guess, the big thing was trying to figure out, can we do this, can we incorporate another show into an already busy week, and we figured out how to do it, and now it's become the fun show to record. They're all fun, but at least we get a chance to say more things about more things. So that's a good thing. I
Yeah.
guess.
Well, the truth of it is, we were trying to see, could we fit another show in, and the
Yeah.
answer was no, absolutely not, no
We
way in
didn't think
heck.
so.
But we're doing it anyway. How about
Yeah.
that?
I am I am not exactly sure how. That may be one of the other reasons that I'm tired today. So
Could be. And while we're on the Lisa Frank show, let's do the last one we did in August, which was August 27, episode 118. Elvis Presley himself came in and reminisced when he did that song on the 100th show. And again, he
Mhm.
didn't sing that day, but he sat here and talked to us, and we replayed it. Another email, Mark from France. We had a note from Dwight, who lives in Arizona part of the year, and I believe Minnesota part of the year. And we kind of sort of recapped the summer meeting, the annual convention for the American Association for Nude Recreation. And that was Wednesday, our extravaganza number 5. Any comments on that?
Just another fun show with Rick and everything. But the one thing I do want to say is that everyone that is interested in Anna or is a member of Anna should know that if you can, Anna live streams these meetings, and it would be a very good idea for any member or anyone again interested in becoming a member to kind of see the work that goes on behind the scenes and the issues that may be upcoming. You may not know about some of them, they don't always get out there. So it'd be really good for all of us to know what's happening. So when that comes up again, we'll try to put live streaming link out so that if you have a few moments and you want to drop in and just see what's happening and see some of the people that are running Amber, then that'd be a great thing.
Yeah. The midwinter convention is coming up in early February, around the 7th. I want to say the 7th and 8th. I could be wrong, so don't hold me to that, but it's a beginning. And so we'll have more information as we get closer to that. And then to finish up August, on the 20th and 30th, episodes 117, 119, we're on 154 today. So we have a ways to go, don't we?
We sure do. I'm getting worn out this way. How do we do all this?
I don't know. But on 117, 119, we had Marcel Lamoth. He's an author, I believe, from New Hampshire. He's up that way. And he's written a number of books, and check him out. His link was in the show notes for episodes 117, 119. Enjoyed talking to him. And a terrific writer, and he has, as I mentioned, some books out there, and he has more coming out as well. On 117, we also discussed Andy Rogers and her terrific contributions. We had an email from Tangerine and Dave as well. And then on the 30th, Lisa Monroe, that's when we added the putting green to the opening sequence. Per listener request, we actually added 3 putting greens out there just to make it extra fancy. We read a letter from Paul Z. Walker and a letter from an email from Brian. One note there and then one note coming up down the road. But any thoughts on Marcel Lamoth or anything we discussed on those 2 shows?
We've had some terrific authors on here, and Marcel's certainly one of them. And I think the really good thing is that the if people can write about naturism in a normal way, it's that it's just somebody's just happens to be a naturist and it's part of the story, then that really brings back the normalcy of naturism. So I think authors are extremely important. And I know some of them write, some science fiction and that kind of thing, but it still gets it out there that it's normal in whatever environment they're in.
Mm-hmm.
And I do want to say this, Paul Z. Walker has really been with us from day one.
Mm-hmm.
And while we've had tremendous support from Ted Bunn and from Will Forrest and from, other authors that we've had, and I apologize if I don't list everybody, but Paul Z's been there for us from the day one, and we really appreciate his not only, help, but his support and the good writing that he does.
Yeah. Well, we just mentioned Marcel. He's also supportive, as is
Mm-hmm,
Dan
that's it.
Hawkins. Yeah.
Yeah, Dan. I'm sorry. As
Yeah.
I said, I probably forget someone. I can't forget Dan. No,
That's right.
and Marcel. So there are probably others out there, but you
Yeah.
all are great.
All right. Let's go into September now. Believe it or not, well, there are only 30 days in September, and we had 8 shows in September. So why don't we knock off the Frank and Lisa shows first,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll back up to the 4 Saturday shows. So these were the 3rd, the 10th, the 17th, and the 24th. And Wednesday extravaganza 6, 7, 8, 9. The first one, September 3rd. We read Brian's other note. We had an email from Jim B. We had an email from James Cole, and that was Wednesday extravaganza number 6. Number 7, we had an extended email from Mark from France. There's that name again. And that was on September 10th. September 17th. You won't believe this. We had another note that we read from Mark from France. A note from Brian from Canada, and a letter we got regarding you basically can't be naked anywhere, anytime, any place in the state of Arkansas. And then our last Wednesday extravaganza, September 24, this was number 9. We read our first story from the blog of Dustin Cox, who we've come to know as a friend of the show here, and highly supportive of what we do. We're also highly supportive of what he does. An excellent writer who constantly puts out content. That's all we ask. Just be great and do it a lot. Is that too much to ask, Lisa Monroe?
Not at all. I mean, if we're going to be in this business, you've got, and you're out here to promote naturism, you need to promote it. Just
Yeah.
saying hi and bye is not going to cut it. And Dustin certainly does not say hi and bye. He is
No.
a superb writer. Mark is
Yeah.
a superb writer. We've been fortunate to be able to, to be involved with these people who just know how to talk about naturism.
Yeah. And to recap or go back, Dustin Cox also has a degree in, I think it's in journalism or it's in communications with a focus on journalism, whatever it is. He actually went to college and got a degree in the area of journalism. And it certainly shows. I mean, the guy can just write his tail off. I think if he were sleeping, he could write an excellent article as well, let alone when he's awake. Anything from you on September, the Lisa Frank extravaganzas?
I think we had a lot of fun, and I think there was a lot of good information and a lot of things that we enjoyed talking about. And of course, Dustin's story was one of them. Mark, of course, because Mark's also been with us from the very beginning. So it's just that we're very happy to have the naturist family that we have involved with this show.
Yeah. Now let's back up. We had 4 other shows in September, all on Saturdays, the 6th, the 13th, the 20th, the 27th. 6 and 13, our special guest was, that's where we need a trumpet fanfare, but
Yes,
Linda
or a
Weber.
drum roll. Yes,
Yeah.
Linda Weber.
Linda
Our
Weber,
guru, our leader.
That's right, the president of the American Association for Nude Recreation. Anna had their annual convention, annual meeting in August. So just a few weeks after the fact, we got together with her to go through everything that happened or did not happen or will happen in the future. And I remember she was very excited about WIADAC, her council that she started off for youth and diversity. And I guess that's going very well still. And that was her own idea, her own creation there, as well as some other things she put together. We had notes from Rick. Rick Dorsiak wrote about Brian, who we later had on the show. He's the guy who drove to Lake Como to meet Rick based on hearing him on this show. We've talked about that a lot. And we also read an email from Armando. We haven't heard from him for a while, but he was one of our regular writers as well. And we also talked when Rick wrote about Brian. He wrote another letter about Lynn and Kevin, and we discussed that on that show too. The 13th, episode 123, Brian, the same guy we talked about a moment ago, wrote an email about showering. Basically, he got out of the shower and just decided, what's the point of getting dressed? And then that's how he discovered naturism. On the 20th and 27th of September, episodes 125, 127, our special guest was a gentleman who got bounced around a lot. We had recorded the interview and put dates out there. And then you and I decided to get involved in these. I think originally we were going to do some Saturday shows, just the two of us.
Yes.
And so he got bounced. And then we decided to go back and start this Wednesday thing. So he got bounced. And then we were able to get Linda Weber on after the summer convention. So he got bounced. Sorry about that. But his name, Jeff Jackson, he's the president of the Rocky Mountain Naturist Club. And he's also now, he wasn't then, but he is now the vice president for Anner West. And he's written the manual, fairly lengthy and exhaustive manual. And I mean that in the most complimentary sense, on how to start, how to run, and how to operate a non-landed nudist club. And he wrote that with two other gentlemen. But we had him on 125 and 127, September 20 and 27. And before I turn it to you, Lisa, we had some listener emails. We had an Andy Rogers report as well, and yet another email from Mark from France. Any comments on Rocky Mountain Naturist Club, Jeff Jackson, or the emails?
Well, I believe we have proven that Jeff is very resilient and kind of bouncing around, and he did great. But his whole philosophy, because he runs a non-landed club, because of that whole philosophy of bringing the naturism to the people, so to speak, not having the people come to a resort. I think in some ways is a wonderful thing, and it expands the ability for people to enjoy being naturists. And I think so there should be a push for more and more of these kinds of places. And the thing about it is that if you have this kind of organization where you're going to get together with people in different places, most of them can go to resorts and spend a weekend. So it can help both sides. It can be private things, or it can be going to a resort. So I think it's wonderful to kind of get that organization together.
Yeah, so Jeff Jackson, definitely a mover and shaker within Anner, within the naturism community. And we appreciated him very much. Now, Lisa, we had 8 shows in September. And we thought, okay, that's ridiculous. So we can't keep going at that pace. So we went from 8 to 9 shows in October. Does that make any sense at all?
No, not at all. But yeah, I guess it's the way the calendar crumbles. What can I say?
That's right. All right. Before we tackle October, we do want to remind everybody we are the official podcast for the American Association for Nude Recreation. Are you a member? If so, that is great. But if not, you can become a member right now. Just go to aanr.com, follow the navigation through membership. And within moments, just like Lisa Monroe is, and just like I am, you'll be a fully fledged member of the American Association for Nude Recreation. How about that, Lisa Monroe?
Absolutely, not a bad thing at all. And we encourage people to look into it and understand what the benefit of Anner is. So it's something very important.
Absolutely. We fully support them and all that they do. You're listening to Naked Nudists and Naturists, episode 154 today, New Year's Eve. We thought it would never come. Then again, we thought it's coming too quickly. Whatever. We're here on New Year's Eve for you to ring in the new year, kind of, sort of. And Lisa, let's go on with October now. I mentioned 9 shows. That's 5 Lisa Frank extravaganzas. Notice I'm calling them Lisa Frank extravaganzas.
I noticed that. Yeah, they're very, very kind of you to be so gentlemanly.
either that or you've trained me well. I can't figure it out.
Probably a little of both, maybe. I'll give you a little bit here.
All right. So the 1st, the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, the 29th, Frank and Lisa extravaganzas. Lisa Frank, just kidding. And on the 1st, episode 128, we read another Dustin Cox story. We played a clip from Dan and Gabby of the Naturist Vibe. They have a podcast out there, the Naturist Vibe. And they're also running a business network. Can't think, is it Naturist Business Network or something like that?
I think that's what it's called.
Yeah. Okay. And they're heavy promoters as well in all that they do with naturism. And Gabby recently became the chairperson of the YDAC committee. We just talked about that a few moments ago, Youth and Diversity Council. She's now the leader of that. So we're expecting bigger and better things from both of them during this journey. And I think Dan has been in naturism forever, kind of like I was, even as a kid. And I think he grew up in a nudist household. Gabby just discovered it a few years ago. So it's interesting to hear their different perspectives. But at the same time, they each have a lot of great things to say about what's going on. So that was on 128, October 1st. October 8th, We spent the whole show basically talking about Gabby and Dan and the rules that they had established for an upcoming
Hmm.
event that was later postponed, but we didn't know it then. They didn't know it then. And just an exhaustive list of rules, what you can do, what you can't do if you come to this event. And we thought it was great. We thought it was a great list. We wanted to share it. And we played a song by a guy. What's that guy's name again? Rick something?
I think it starts with a D. Is that correct?
Uh, yeah.
Dorsiak?
Oh, yeah. I was thinking Rick
Yeah,
Dorr.
yeah.
No, it's Rick
No,
Dorsiak. You're right.
Dorsiak. Yes.
Another song
Oh,
by him. And then on episode 132, on October 15th, we'd read a story from a blog post by Jelaine Lombardi, who we just had on the show very recently. And it was about when we contacted her, hey, would you like to come on the show, talk about your book, Running Around Naked? Unbeknownst to us, she had some issues with that. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of nervous about this. I love to write. I hate to talk about myself. And she put it out there to her readers. And I think she'd already accepted by the time she put the blog post out. But we spent the hour talking about her. On 134, at October 22, we had a gentleman, I think from Norway. His name is Evan. It's spelled Even. Looks like even,
mhm.
but it's Evan. And we spent the whole show discussing his email, which was quite lengthy and admittedly highly complimentary. We appreciate that. And then to end the month on October 29, Hank and Don came in. They didn't sing during the show, but we played again. It's a Wonderful World or Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong and how they changed the lyrics to naturism for our 100th show. We talked about National Authors Day, and we read yet another email from Mark from France. So, Lisa, that's our whole October 5 shows. Frank, Lisa, Frank extravaganzas. Any comments?
Just phew.
Yeah.
It's looking back on all of this, it's amazing to me how much information and how many people with really good things to say that we've had on the show. And you go from week to week, and oh, this was great, that was great. But if you look back at the collective, it's been amazing what the diversity and the just level of interesting content that's coming out. So I'm just really happy that these people have come on the show and been willing to talk about what they love.
Yeah, very much so. All right, let's back up a little now. We're on October, the Saturday shows, the 4th and 11th, which episodes 129, 131. We had Andrea on. She's from the WOW campaign that Andy Rogers puts out, and she was on their calendar or part of the website campaign. I don't recall now. But she's a true, genuine naturist. She's not out there posting 5,000 selfies a day. And nobody even really knows that she's a naturist. They don't do the social naturism thing. She and her husband hang out nude together. It's just the two of them. Their kids are grown and gone. And then they try to sneak in a trip here or there, either to a resort, a beach, a vacation where they can be nude. So just a very genuine person. Really enjoyed talking to her. And we had another report from Andy Rogers on that show. We played another Dan and Gabby clip. And then on the 131, which is on the 11th, we played another Dan and Gabby clip. We had a letter from Daniel. And any comments on those two shows before we move on?
I thought Andrea was extremely interesting because, again, as you said, she kind of represents the normal naturist out there. One who's not really, tooting the horn or banging the drums for naturism, but she's just enjoying it the way people should enjoy it. And we need the people out there singing from the rafters, but we also need people like Andrea who, just are naturists because they enjoy being naturists.
Mm-hmm. And then on the 18th and 25th, 133, 135, our special guest was Brian King. Now, he's the Brian who went down to meet Rick Dorsiak at Lake Como and wrote a bunch of emails to us about that. We read an email from Dale. And then on the 25th, that's when we had to announce Dan and Gabby's event was postponed.
Mm-hmm.
So we helped to promote it. We got the word out, and it had to be postponed for whatever reasons. We don't get into that. That's their personal and professional situation. But they are looking to reschedule that for sometime in the spring. We'll let you know. We had an email from AB Friendly Bear up in Canada. And that concluded October. Any thoughts on Brian King or anything we covered?
Well, again, I think it's just amazing that we watched the progression of someone who was concerned and not sure whether or not they wanted to be a naturist, and then Rick comes on and they get enthused and then they communicate, and then suddenly Brian is into this. He loves it, and he's found a niche that makes him happy, and I think it's just fabulous. And so really and truly, if that's what this show is about, is that bringing naturists together with, or making them understand that it's okay to be a naturist, and that we've done our work. I love it.
Yeah. All right. And then we get into November. And again, September had 8 shows. We thought, well, we got to take a break. So we did 9 in October. Guess what, Lisa? In November, we did another 9. How about that?
Oh, I guess it's how the cookie crumbles or the dates fall or whatever. But yeah, it was interesting, and I feel like we might have done like 18 from the push that we've always had. But it's fun.
Okay, let's go into November now, and we'll do the Saturday shows first. And they hit on the 1st, the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, and the 29th. And starting with November 1st, episode 137, as well as 139 on the 8th, we had Brady Dell as our special guest. She is the wife of Matt Dell, Pine Tree Associates. He's the president there. We had him on back in May. And what an amazing woman. She's equally on fire for naturism, as is he, also equally as into health and body fitness and mental outlook, and really a true joy to have on the show. Any thoughts on Brady Dell?
And she wore me out because she's just a consummate athlete, and uh loves naturism and into being physically fit, and just the things that we all probably should aspire to. It maybe not at her level, but at least to know that it's a good thing. So she was fabulous, and she's energetic, and she's funny, and she just has a lot to say about how important naturism is.
Yeah, very impressed and amazed by both of them. A terrific couple, terrific individuals, and hopefully we'll get to meet them someday and head up to Pine Tree for a day or a weekend or whatever we can muster up. How about that?
That would be fun, absolutely, because I think they run an amazing organization. There are a lot of tremendous resorts out there. We've talked
Yeah.
to Cindy from Shangri-La and so many others, and there's just some wonderful places for naturists to go.
Yeah, no, I agree. We also discussed on episodes 137, 139. That was the first time we brought up, should we be doing naked video around here? Because some people had mentioned it. We had a clip from Dale. We had some audio from Paul Z. Walker. And that's when we first brought up Blind Creek Arrest, which we discussed on the last show. And then moving along on episodes 141, 143, which hit on the 15th and 22nd of November, Dave and Gary from First Coast Naturist, a non-landed nudist club in Jacksonville. We talked a little more about Blind Creek, and we had another email. Mark from France, we did part 1. And I thought Dave and Gary were terrific. It's another non-landed nudist club. I would join in a heartbeat if it lived a little closer.
It's just amazing because I don't think people who were naturists or who'd never been into a resort or anything understand that these kinds of groups are available to them, or they could start one. I mean, go back to Jeff and from Rocky Mountain and get the plan to put one together. And because this is how we do it. I mean, we do it on a small scale with a few friends here, but the fact is that this can be done on a bigger scale and bring more people into it. And Dave and Gary have proven that. And it's just that Chris and Stephanie from Indiana have proven that. And these can be very viable, fun organizations for people.
Yeah, and Jeff Jackson out
yes,
in Colorado.
Yeah, but I mean, he's the guru of it, I believe. Right. So who better yet to help everybody learn to do this? So
yeah, he literally wrote the book on it. How about that?
Yep.
And then we finished off the month of November 29, episode 145. Part 1 with Stephanie from Indiana Naturist. She's the wife of Chris, who we had on in July. And they're a team. They run this club together. She does all the financial stuff and organizational pieces as far as making sure everybody signed up for Anna and so on and so forth. And they plan events together. And just yet, I know it gets old. I wish I could think of other words to describe our guest, but another terrific naturist who is on fire for naturism. And we enjoyed having her on as well. And then we had an email from Daniel and an email from Greg. Any thoughts on 145?
Well, I think we do keep saying, "Oh my gosh, these were great. Oh my, this person was fabulous. This person was terrific." And the fact is that they are. And I think for us, you've been into naturism longer than I have, and you more people. But for me, to kind of come into this more open world of naturism, after a long time, it's been amazing to see this enthusiasm and this drive to make this a better situation for everybody. And I just love hearing people like Chris and Stephanie and Brady and her husband. I mean, just an awful lot of things that come into play here, and it's just great. And I think it's fun.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. And we'll get to part 2 of her interview, which happened in December. We'll get to that when we get to December in just a few moments.
Mm-hmm.
And then backtracking in November, let's look at our Wednesday extravaganza shows. The 5th, the 12th, the 19th, the 26th, Wednesday extravaganzas with Lisa and Frank. On the 5th, episode 138, we discussed naked video again. Should we do it? Should we not? That was pretty much the premise of the whole show. On 140, on the 12th, listener feedback on should we do video. On the 19th, a letter from Paul Priestley. Also, Renee Bellamy wrote to us. He's the guy who later did a drawing of us, and we'll have him on the show coming up, I believe, in January.
Okay.
And then we finished the month of Wednesdays on the 26th. Mentioned what Mitch Albom said about radio. Another, or part 2 of the email from Mark from France. And then Paul Priestley sent in a new poem. Any thoughts on those 4 episodes?
They were terrific, and I think we had some surprises. And when we threw out this, question about doing video for the show, we definitely did not get the responses that we expected to get. We got, people going, "Why? You don't need to do that. We are perfectly fine the way we are." And that surprised me, but it also made me feel very good about, what they're getting from us, and that they don't need anything else. And so we'll see. But those were interesting shows.
Yeah, it's 6 months worth of shows, and this show today is going to be 6 months in and of itself.
Exactly.
It's recapping.
You might have to pull some of your wonderful editing to get us.
Oh no, we might even add some music and just have. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay.
But let's head into December now of this year, 2025. We're ending it today. This is New Year's Eve. Another 9 shows. Apparently, we never learn our lesson around here, Lisa Monroe.
No, we don't.
Let's do the Saturday shows first. On the 6th, the 13th, the 20th, the 27th. We started 147 on the 6th with Stephanie from Indiana, part 2 of her interview. We had emails from James and Brian and Tim. Any thoughts on that? You've already spoken about Stephanie from Indiana, but any final comments on her or what we discussed on that show?
Again, it's just, she was a delight. Her husband was a delight. We'd love to have them back, and we'd certainly love to enjoy getting to meet them and participate in their events. So just great people.
Yep. And then on the 149 and 151, 13 and 20, we had Jelaine Lombardi. She is the woman who wrote the book, Running Around Naked, grew up at a nudist resort from age 7 to 18, went away to college where she had to keep her clothes on and basically decided to keep them on forevermore. And she still goes nude at home with her husband. They'll take the boat out in the water and get nude there. So she's not totally away from it, but it sounds like she's away from the social naturism aspect and actually calls herself an outsider now. She's an outsider to naturism, but a fascinating interview and really enjoyed having her. We discussed the science behind nudism as put out from, here we go again, Mark from France, part 1. We had an email from Jason. And on the 20th, which is episode 151, we had a Dan Hawkins audio clip about his new book. Tangerine sent an email. Greg sent an email, and we talked about locker rooms because we had done some shows on our Wednesday extravaganzas, which we'll get to in a moment. Any thoughts about Jelaine Lombardi, Mark's science project, Dan's upcoming book, emails, anything?
Well, I can't wait to read Dan's book, first of all, and I haven't had a chance to yet, but I will. And as far as Jelaine goes, I think it's really interesting because it shows that you can transition within naturism and still not walk away from it. And, for whatever reason, she's now learning to enjoy it as a individual in a different fashion than she did growing up. So I think these are good lessons for all of us that we don't have to be cut from the same cookie cutter in order
Mhm.
to be a naturist. And so I think that's a very good lesson from what we learned from Jelaine, and an interesting story about how she grew up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, extremely so. And then we finished off the month of December on Saturdays just a few days ago on the 27th. Part one with Karen Lisa Sieber. She runs Great Full Heart. That's three separate words, Great Full Heart out of Pennsylvania. We'll have part two on this coming Saturday show. We had an email from Dale, and we talked a little bit about the Blind Creek Beach update. And any thoughts on any of that?
I found Karen fascinating. There again so many different levels, and it proves how diversified members, people who are naturists, are. Every walk of life, every kind of aspect, and she had some interesting things to talk about the kind of naturist sort of holistic approach to naturism, and it's just really great.
And that's how we finished up our Saturdays. Now let's backtrack to the beginning of December, the Wednesday extravaganzas. 3, 10, 17, 24, and today. We'll review today, even in the midst of doing today. That takes a special gift, doesn't it?
Oh, yes, it does. A gift of gab, I guess. Just got to make up how is this going to be go. But when it's almost over, so we kind of have an idea.
Yeah. We have on the first two Wednesdays, the 3rd and the 10th, episodes 146, 148. We spent the entire show, both shows, discussing the article that appeared in the Atlantic about nudity disappearing from locker rooms and maybe from society as well, written by Jacob Beckert, the University of Washington in Seattle. He's a professor there. And he discussed it at length. And so we read his entire article and broke it apart and discussed it. And that was on the first two Wednesdays, the 3rd and the 10th. Any comment or reaction to those shows?
I'm still kind of reeling from what's happening within the naturist community, and what's just happening within society. I mean, this kind of transcends even our needing to be naturist. This is infringing now on just how people are behaving normally, and it's taking away a lot of who we are, because we cannot deny that people are people and bodies are bodies, and the second we start pushing those two things apart, we're in trouble.
Yep. And then we moved ahead to December 17th, episode 150. Rick Dorsiak had another song, a Christmas song we played. And then we also went back to Mark from France. We had Mark from France and Rick Dorsiak on the same show. And we talked about the end of his article, the second half, about the science behind nudism. We read that and broke it apart as well. Then on the 24th, so only a week ago on Christmas Eve, we reviewed all the guests and all the shows we've had for 2025, January through June. And today, Lisa Monroe, episode 154 to end the year. New Year's Eve, we're discussing all the guests we've had on the show in 2025, July through today. Any comments at all?
The thing that strikes me is that, we do shows from week to week. So sometimes I go, who was in January? Who was in February? You kind of lose track. And you remember the guests, you don't remember when or what, everything about them. And this has kind of reminded me that there was a lot of things that we did, and a lot of people who are offering their information and their history and their concerns and everything about naturism, and that's what we want. We wanted to touch the real people, and I think that this has kind of brought that back home. And some people may have not listened to every episode, although I'm not sure that's true, because well, we get a lot of people who say, I started out at 01, I'm only at 140, and they haven't caught up yet. If you did miss a podcast, then this might have prompted you to go, oh, I got to go back and check out 138 or 150 or one or whatever. So I think it's been fun for us to look back on what all has gone on, and the tremendous guests and listeners that we've had who participated.
Yeah. We had, I've not told you this before, but as we were reviewing guests, especially in last week, January through June, there were some guests in my head. We think about our guests all the time, even if they've
Mm-hmm.
been and gone. We talk about them and point out, oh, such and such a guest from episode or whatever. Did you see what he did and what she's
Mm-hmm.
doing or whatever? And it's always good news. And there were a couple of guests that we had on. I won't mention them by name, but from January through June, in my head, oh yeah, we had them on the show 2 years ago or 8 years ago, whatever. And then I'm reading the list, and it's like, oh, that was this year. That was
Mm-hmm.
this year we met some of these people. And in my head, we feel like we know them so well that we've been friends forever. And it's only been this year. Same with some of the people we've had from July through now. It's just when you have them on the show, you get to know them, their backstory. And that's what naturism is all about, is just putting it all together, getting to know everybody at a personal level. Any last thoughts?
No, I think that this has been such an eye opener for me. This show from the very beginning, and getting a chance to talk to these people, and they do become important to us. Our listeners become important to us, and
Mm-hmm.
if you look at how Paul D. Walker and how Dan and how Mark and how Rick and how Brian and how many, I mean, there's 1,000 others I could list
Yeah.
because they have become part of the fabric of this show, and it's important to them, and that makes it even more important to us. And so that's the cool thing about all of this.
Yep. All right, Lisa Monroe, we have to head for the hills. And tonight will be, I think I'm going to drink heavily during the day. And by drink heavily, I mean lots of coffee. How about that?
Yes, yes, yes. Might stay up until at least midnight, you think? Maybe? See the ball drop, and then that'll be it.
Yeah. It was always a running joke when I was in terrestrial radio. I would show up with a bottle of water, a bottle of iced tea, and an extra large coffee that I got from
Mm-hmm.
some store. So
Yep.
I'd have 3 drinks, and I'd spread them out in front of me and just alternate. And by the end of the show, all were gone. And there were a couple of times I'm not going to make it to the end of the show, and the restroom was at the other end of the building. Somehow I survived, but it was always a running joke: is he going to make it? Is he going to make it? I don't know, but we made
Always
it. But,
wondered.
that's right. So we do drink heavily around here. We are not as lame as we seem. We drink all of the time. It's just our drinks are coffee and water and maybe some
Yep.
tea, right?
That's pretty much it. I mean, I go around with my coffee mug during the morning and sometimes afternoon. And
Yeah.
then my big old thermal mug thingy with water and maybe lemon, maybe a little flavoring in it. And that's about the extent of our drinking, which I guess makes us really boring.
Oh, boring and lame beyond belief. Now, at the same time, those who drink alcohol, and we do drink alcohol from time to
Yes,
time, we're
we
not
do.
100% lame. That's fine. That's not intended to be negative toward anybody or anything. Do what you want to do. The only thing we ask is that you do it safely and you stay safe. Today's New Year's Eve. We have a show coming up Saturday, and you'd better be here for that. If we hear you're not here because you drank too much, we're going to be really ticked off, aren't we, Lisa?
Yes, we are. So everybody just moderation is the best thing in the world. Have fun. And I think you have more fun when you're not quite over the top drunk than you do when, I think you must have more fun. You're aware of things going on, and that's the important thing, to be aware.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if you have more fun or less fun, but you remember more about the fun that you had.
This is true.
If
That's
you
a good way
haven't-
of saying it.
Yeah, if you haven't downed a couple of fifths or whatever. All right, Lisa Monroe, let's head for the hills. They promise to stay closed free until Saturday. We'll see you then.
I will certainly do so, and you too. And everyone, Happy New Year. Have a wonderful, wonderful start to your year, and we look forward to having you joining us for the next 2026 shows.
All right, sounds good. The very terrific Lisa Monroe as she goes waltzing on out of the studio. She does so very much around here, and we appreciate her very much. She does all of the website work, all of the merchandise work, helps out with the shows, helps out with the Patreon page, and gives moral support, is always there when I need her to ask her a question or run something by her. Always available, and we appreciate Lisa Monroe very much. Well, as tough as this is the final show of 2025, New Year's Eve of 2025, episode 154. What are you looking forward to in the next year? We'd like to hear from you on a couple of things. First of all, we just reviewed July through December of 2025. Of those 6 months, what did you like best? Which was your favorite episode, your favorite guest, your favorite segment, and so on? But we'd also like to hear from you. What do you plan to do in 2026? Keep your life exactly the same as is. If it's going beautifully, yeah, keep it the same. Looking to make any changes, any improvements? Be clothes-free more often, for example? Let us know. You can reach us a variety of ways. Email is nakedforevermore@gmail.com. You can hit us up on our website, nakednudistandnaturist.com. There's a place to contact us there. You can find us on our YouTube page, our Spotify page, and on social media. You can find us on Twitter as well as Blue Sky. So let us know your favorite segment, your favorite guest, your favorite show of the last 6 months, July through December. And also, what are your plans for your life and your naturism journey in 2026? And we will be with you on this coming Saturday for episode 155, which will feature part 2 of my interview with Karen Lisa Sieber from Pennsylvania. She owns that business, Great Full Heart. She's also a fully fledged member of the Pine Tree Associates Nudist Club in Annapolis, Maryland. Matt Dell and Brady Dell have been on the show before. Matt is the president of that club. And then she found us through the interviews with them. She found us and said, hey, can I be on the show? And we are glad we said yes, because she gets it. She gets the whole living life here, but she also gets the whole naturism thing, put it all together, and has this business, Great Full Heart. So we will do that, part 2 of my interview with Karen, on this Saturday, episode 155. Well, again, this is New Year's Eve, 2025, episode 154. Keep it safe today and tonight. Just take care of yourself. Whatever you do, I tend to go to bed really early, way before midnight. So I won't even know it's the new year until I wake up tomorrow morning. But if you ring in the new year, just keep it safe. You know what that means. Just take care of yourself. Take care of your friends and loved ones. Don't do anything wild and out of control, because we want you alive and well and back on Saturday. So have a terrific New Year's Eve celebration, and we'll see you on this coming Saturday for episode 155. Well, you've been listening to Naked Nudists and Naturists, episode 154 today. We give you a brand new show every Saturday morning, 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, and on most Wednesdays, 12 noon Eastern Time. Continue to join us. Check us out on our website, nakednudistandnaturist.com, Spotify, Google, Amazon/Audible, Apple Podcasts, and also on Twitter. You can write us anywhere, anytime, any place. And we thank you for being with us today. Plan to join us for every single one of our shows here, and have your clothes off when you're listening. We have our clothes off when we're broadcasting, enjoying the naturist life.
We celebrate clothes-free living for all. Remember to enjoy being naked, and join us again for Naked Nudists and Naturists.
We drop a brand new show every Saturday morning, so come back and join us. Have your clothes off when you do for Naked Nudists and Naturists. Have a great clothes-free day.